Morning. Welcome to our cybersecurity webinar. I'm Monica Khalife. And on behalf of our entire team, I would like to welcome you to our webinar. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days. Today, we have a fantastic speaker. I am so excited for her presentation. I have to say, I have seen personally her presentation in the past, and it is fantastic. It is just that every time I am done with her presentation, I'm actually scared, and I really tried to implement all her tips. So let me introduce Ileana van der Linde. Ileana, thank you for joining us.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you, Monica.
I'll just give a brief introduction, and then we'll jump right into the material.
Right.
Ileana is an executive director at JP Morgan Asset and Wealth Management, and she is the head of cyber advisory, when she and her team develop timely educational materials to help address the needs of wealthy individuals, family offices, businesses, and many other clients, so they are prepared to deal with the reality of cyber threats, which we all know have been on the rise meaningfully. So, Ileana, thanks for joining us again. Please start your presentation.
Sure. It's great to be here, Monica, and I'm always happy to help. You're absolutely right. Cyber is constantly changing. And so this is why we always need to stay, on top of what we're doing. So I'm going to be going through this presentation as a guide. I am going to be stopping along the way to ask some questions. If you have questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A, button, and then Michelle Morato from my team will certainly be there, and we can filter them, and I'll have time for questions at the end as well. But this is one where, sometimes people ask, why is JP Morgan doing a cyber presentation? And the reason is because we as a firm, we spend a very large amount of money. We spend over $12 billion a year on technology and $700 million on cyber, right? One first might say, okay, great, but we see cyber and fraud coming and going many different ways. What we have noticed, though, is that the hackers go where it's easiest, namely to people who are not spending this kind of money. So we put together an educational program to talk about ways that you can protect yourself, protect your office, or also think about better means for payments. Now, some people jump to, but wait, is that technology? Well, no, not entirely. The vast majority of data breaches today happen because they figure out people and process, not because of bad technology. So this is where we're going to go through several things today as you deal with your clients, and hopefully you can take away some nuggets for yourself, to again deal with your clients or yourselves, because it all starts with you. So I'm going to give a high level picture first, and then we're going to zero in on some of the ways that hackers can get into our lives. So let's say when you look at the headlines on any given day, you are seeing a fraction of what is actually happening in the world of cyber. It is massively underreported. The reports that we see on a daily basis would be thick if we printed them out. They are constantly, there are loads of attacks. It is so huge at this point that cybercrime is now considered the third largest economy behind the US and China. It is massive, and it is more profitable than drug trade, meaning we all have to learn how to deal with this versus, because it is certainly not going away. There's no industry that is immune to cyber attacks. Every industry is impacted. A lot of people look to the financial industry to keep things safe. And granted, the financial services industry is probably the most secure out of all the other industries. We are constantly working to make sure our own firm is secure, but we also collaborate with other large financial institutions to talk about attack patterns, things of ways that we can better protect our firms, but we work together. We're also highly regulated, right? So there is a lot of controls in place. I am much more concerned about other industries, namely healthcare. Healthcare is one of the most attacked and ravaged industries to date this year. I always say, if you've ever visited a hospital, doctor's office, vet's office, or clinic, your information's already on the dark web, right? So you don't have to pay a monthly fee to figure out, whether you're there. You're there. Other industries, I worry about infrastructure, electrical grid, nuclear power plants. That's where a lot more my concern is. Those are all things that can impact us, oil and gas. But if you have children in schools or you work with nonprofits, that information's already also been taken. Every industry is impacted. Now, the thing that we do see a lot about in the headlines is artificial intelligence, the ChatGPT, Jasper, loads of different tools, and great stuff, right? I always say I encourage people to actually try it out because it is going to be impacting every single industry we work for. But I also want to caveat this, that you have to be very careful, and we're going to talk about this later on, how to use ChatGPT securely, because this is a tool different than other AI prior to this that is constantly learning. It has learned a lot, but it is also continually learning. So, it might be smarter than you in some things, but I would never trust this thing for any kind of factual information. It makes stuff up. Number two, you have to be aware that it is also ingesting your profile that you've signed up for. And it will also, hackers are using this whole ChatGPT to also learn everything they can, to write malware, to write better phishing, and all of those things, right? So there is a lot going on with AI. You can't just tread into this area and go, oh, it's so cool. It writes, helps me write. I don't need a marketing person anymore because here we go. So tread with caution. The things that we worry about most when it comes to AI is social engineering, the phishing attacks that have gone up since ChatGPT came out last year at this time. It has gone up 85%. We see a lot of disinformation. If I feed it lots of false information, right, or it can spit out false information that it's made up. But there's, weaponized AI, there's authentication problems, issues with deep fakes, and all this kind of nature. So we as an industry take this very, very seriously. It's not something that we just go, oh, how cool. It can help us, but it can also, we've got to look out for, how the tool works. So we'll go into it a little bit deeper. But let's first talk about, how does a cyber attack actually occur? So let's say I'm going to go after, I get one of your business cards. Let's say I go after Withum Wealth, right? I research somebody that works there, maybe Monica. I get her business card. I look on the dark web. I also look on the public web, news, and social media. And I may not target Monica directly. Maybe I target somebody else that works there, perhaps somebody in accounting, right? And again, this can be any company. What a hacker does is they socially engineer. It's one of the most predominant ways that they get in. And they send somebody an email that says, invoice overdue. It certainly triggers somebody to go, what? We pay all our invoices on time. How can this be? Opens up that email, clicks on the email. Oh, this is an invoice that we paid this last week, right? We tell ourselves, they probably got didn't get the payment in time or something like that, and go on with our day. Now, nothing has happened on the screen, but what could be happening is that the hacker is downloading, all excited because they got somebody to click, downloading malware onto the system. And what they're doing in that time is they're going to, put the malware in. They're going to be there for weeks, months, or half a year before they launch a bigger attack. They do reconnaissance on the people that use the system. How do they move money? What technology version are they on? Right? Maybe they haven't updated their software lately. And then they launch the bigger attack. And we see our clients be hit by three things most commonly. The first is a wire transfer attack or fraud. And this is where somebody's been duped into wiring money to the wrong location. This can be within a company, but it can also be personally. Maybe it is you have a payment on a second home that you're building, and the sheetrock is going up. The construction company, the real estate company, the title company, the vacation home, the charter jet company. I can go on and on and on. And again, oftentimes in a personal sense, we don't think that this has anything to do with cybercrime, but oh, how it does. In companies, again, this is where they're looking. 95% of the time where it goes wrong, where JP Morgan doesn't, we always do callbacks and we check and we validate. Are you sure you're doing this wire transfer? 95% of the cases where it goes wrong, it's because the underlying vendors have been hacked. The people you're getting the messages from. You always have to do a callback and say, I got an email from you that says you're changing the bank account. Would you mind reading that back to me? If you read it to it, you may also be communicating with a deepfake. You want to make sure that you're always letting your vendor truly tell you what is going on. The second is business email compromise. That's in essence when somebody's in your email system, reading everything over your shoulder, what you open, close, send, work on, all being observed. And that information can be sold, or they can be acted on. And the worst is ransomware, in essence, where you're being held for ransom. Your company files or your personal files are being held for ransom, and you get to pay the hacker's cryptocurrency of choice to get it back. I will tell you, although most people don't want to hear this, about 2/3 of the people end up paying because they have not prepared ahead of time. So I always focus, or a lot of people focus on, I just sure hope this doesn't happen to me, right? Or I'm so small, it would never happen to me. I love that story. No. The smaller you are, the more you have to worry, because you usually don't have cyber controls in place. And that's where the hackers know it's just low-hanging fruit. Instead of just worrying about it, I don't want it to happen. What we're going to talk about today is, why is there so much information about you on the dark web? How come you are not cleaning that up? Or how do we avoid that, right? How do we put certain things in place, both personally and professionally, to avoid being the car accident at the end, right? Because when you hit that, that's where you're pulling the emergency brake, right? And it's just, you're trying to desperately get back on. So we're going to focus less on, the disaster, but more about prevention. So 80% of all cyber attacks are successful and they start with phishing. And you might think, come on, I know what a phishing email looks like. Well, you know what? There's some very smart people that work at Microsoft, Cisco, Samsung, NVIDIA, Okta, Uber, American Airlines, Sequoia, etc. Keep going, right? That also clicked on something because these attacks are so sophisticated. These are not the, spray and pray emails, phishing emails that are, you want a free iPad. Nobody's falling for you want a free iPad emails. They are spear phishing, in which they're going after targeted people because they know your job, right? They know your role. Or whaling is when they go after the CEO, COO, etc. But it's much more specific than you might think, right? That's usually what gets us. Now, many of us in the companies that we work in might say, yeah, we get phish tested, regularly, hopefully lots regularly, because people who are not tested on a regular will click on a link, right? And so many of us might see an email like this that says, technology help desk, urgent password reset, dear client, your account was compromised. And a lot of us would be like, oh, I'd never fall for this. Good, good on you, right? And we'd all pat ourselves on the back and be like, that's great. I wouldn't fall for that, right? You'd always want to verify, you'd always want to check, make sure, or you don't click on it and you report it. The problem is that most of us are also getting loads of phishing emails in our personal lives. And we don't see the connection, right? There's a disconnect of sometimes we get the thing that says your Amazon driver can't find you, your Netflix membership is on hold. And some of this we already kind of go, yeah, I know. Or it'll say, these are the 8 people that are using your Netflix membership. Something gets you to click down and you're like, what 8 people? It should only be 4, right? Or, the Geek Squad has just charged you $472.33. And you think, what? No, and you click into it because there's a lot of detailed information. Point is, do not click on any of these because 95% are fake. And again, a hacker looks at you much more holistically. You think, this is me at work, this is me at home, this is me in my kid's life, this is me, on the golf course. And a hacker says, no, where are you not paying attention? Because hopefully I'll get into you in one aspect of your life and I can piggyback my way into even bigger stuff, right? That's what they're hoping for. So do not click on any of these. Also, do not unsubscribe unless you signed up. I stupidly signed up for Nordstrom emails. I get them daily that say there's a sale happening. I get it, right? Every day there's a sale happening. I can unsubscribe from the Nordstrom because I know I signed up. I did not sign up for Bass Pro Fishing Shop's sale daily, right? So I'm not going to unsubscribe from that. I'm going to block that because the unsubscribe link could have malware in it, right? So you want to be careful and think about, what am I not participating in? Similarly, we are all getting text messages galore, right? And political season has started. Oh, yay. This is one where we're being inundated, but you've given out your phone number to the vet's office, the doctor's office, CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid, all of whom your name and phone number. So your full name and phone number, all of those places have been hacked. Your full name and phone number are showing up on your phone. Not about anything medical, no, something completely unrelated. And I got one recently that said, greetings, Ileana. I am Mo with them, blah, blah, blah. And I first thought, oh, my name's spelled correctly. How nice. Oh, never mind. It's 2 exclamation marks, right? This already tells me, forget it. So blah, 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 blah. Look at this whole thing. And then at the bottom, though, it says to opt out, reply, stop. And I would want nothing more, right, than this stuff to stop. But if I press stop and type out stop on something I didn't sign up for, guess what? It tells the hacker on the other end that a human being has engaged, and now my phone number will go for more money, right? This is an entire system, an ecosystem of hackers who are using these tools. And we are unsuspecting, or we're very dismissive of these types of things. So you're better off blocking the text messages as well. There are 4 spam blockers, and we will send you this list. You're going to get it from whoever signed you up. Truecaller, Nomorobo, RoboKiller, or Haya are excellent, and they will cut down on 85% of the spam calls and texts you get. Or you can always block a number if you feel, but do not press stop on something you didn't sign up for, right? Same principle. So you first might think, well, come on, really, it's just annoying stuff. No. This is one of the number 1 arsenals or tools that hackers use. Now, there's 13,000 organized crime groups, also terror groups, that are using this to fund themselves. So this is why it's really important. So when we get to, there's hacktivists who may not like you for a certain reason, your religion, your whatever industry you're in, etc., where you live. There's nation states that our government deals with, but there's also cyber criminals. Just 70% are out for financial gain. And again, this is where it all starts. So one of the key things in this ecosystem of hackers that are working, there's some that are very good at hacking into everything, some that are good into hacking into, some are good at putting together profiles once they have certain information, and ones are very good at, targeting. So one of the key things that they look for is our email addresses. I want you to think about mentally, how many of you would have more than 4 email accounts to your name? I want you to think again, personally and professionally, because this is where it falls down. So I like to tell the story about a family that experienced fraud. And I'll stop it for questions in a little bit. Family that had fraud, and husband and wife came in very upset because their business and personal accounts had been breached. The wife says, we're not leaving till we figure this out. But by the way, we have our son Jimmy in the waiting room. I know it wasn't him because I monitor everything he does. He's such a good kid. Okay. So I roll through that one and I say, you want to bring your son in? He has to come forth, admit to his mother that he has 6 email accounts to his name, not 1. We won't talk, he didn't do the fraud, but his mom is all shocked. How can this be? What are they for? And he reveals that he has 1 email for his parents that he considers the hackers of his life, 1 email for his guy friends, 1 for his current girlfriend, 1 for Snapchat, 1 for Instagram, and 1 for gaming. And what we tell the parents is he's the smartest one in the room because he has distributed his cyber risk. He's not one person online. You all invest in different asset classes to diversify your financial risk. You don't just have one asset class. Your emails are an asset to you. They are the way in. So I actually want you to have more email accounts, not less. And let me explain how I'd like you to do that. So we all have a business email account, the vast majority of us, let's say, something official that has our name in it. And to caveat this or to preface this whole thing, we use email today for 2 purposes: communications and logins. Communications are just where words are going back and forth. You're actually talking to somebody, and logins, who cares? You're not talking to anybody. You're just logging in. But emails are used for both. So for emails with communication, for work, many of us have the email that has our name in it. Monica Halife, at Withum Wealth. Okay. So that might be her email address, and people that are in communication with her would be like, oh, this is from Monica. Wonderful. Where I would not, it's great to use with clients, anything trusted for work, anything official business, great email. Where I would not want her to use that email is on Uber, OpenTable, Frequent Flyer Account, Saks Fifth Avenue, Marriott, American Airlines, MGM, Caesars, because they've all been hacked. And when a hacker hacks into a hotel chain for the 100th time and says, ooh, let's see what we got. Oh, I've been trying to get into Withum Wealth. Oh, here's Monica Halife. Is it Monica Halife? Is it M Halife? Is it Monica J? Which is it? Because once I understand the syntax, I can blanket fish that entire company, right? So this is one where I want you to not use a valuable work email address on sites that are truly not work related, because you're only attracting a lot more negative stuff towards your firm. Okay, and the much you can, because then everybody can be blanket fished that works with them. Similarly, a lot of us have a personal email account that has our name in it, where we're very proud. Maybe we've had this for 20 years. Our college buddies all know about this email. And I'm going to, let's say it's, Monica J at, graduation year or birthday at gmail.com, right? All of us would recognize that we have an email like this that has a portion of our name in it. I want you all to do homework on that email this weekend, okay? Because, and I don't want you to do homework on that email on this device. I want you to do it on a large screen, okay? On that large screen, this is one where I'm gonna, let's say a hacker could be hacking into Monica tonight at 2 in the morning. And what they're gonna do in very short order is hack into her account, but bypass her inbox, bypass her contacts, and they go straight to her sent folder, because her sent folder is a point of truth. Monica's reached out, confirmed, acknowledged, right? All the people she's reached out to, that's a current list. In her sent folder, the hacker is going to look for 5 keywords: bank, finance, tax, password, and medical. All the keywords that earn the most money on the dark web. Monica's list comes up. Hacker sends it to themselves, erases they were an account, and they're on to one of you on the call next. They hack in very quickly, harvesting information. You need to figure out what they could potentially be harvesting on your own account. Log in onto a screen this weekend or tonight and look, go to your sent folder and type in bank, finance, tax, password, medical, and see what comes up. And if you think, wow, I sure wouldn't want a hacker to have that, do something about it. Delete it or download it and put it onto a USB drive. But don't use your virtual cloud email as the filing cabinet for your life, because hackers are knowing that you put everything in there. If you have old tax returns in there, great. 90% of that information doesn't change, and they can just lift that, pull it, and then they can go to town on you, right? So be very careful about cleaning up that email. I want you to set up additional emails for all those sites that you log into without your name in it. You're going to create new ones. One of mine is ilovefastcars@gmail.com. You don't know my name, age, gender, ethnicity, location, zilch. When a hacker hacks in for the 100th time to some, hotel chain that you love to stay at, and they go, ooh, here's, Monica J at gmail.com versus ilovefastcars@gmail.com. Guess who they're going to go after first? Somebody named Monica. It's going to be much easier for them, right? So I have 7 different emails to my name, 2 for communication that, yes, have a portion of my name in it, 5 for other different categories. I have 1 email that I use just for the travel category. Cars, trains, automobiles, all that stuff, hotels, all goes into travel. The other email, online shopping. It's all the stuff that comes in and out of there. I use 1 email just for that. I clean it out the end of every week. Select all, delete, done. I have another email that I use with charities that I work with that have horrible cybersecurity. Constantly losing information, the charities are. So why would I give a charity the same email I use with my bank? Right? Don't want that. To whom are you giving your information, and how can they make that come back? So this is one where I want you to truly think about this. Use different emails for different categories. Okay, and you can set these up. And also for your new friend, ChatGPT, you should not be using the same email in your profile that you do with your bank, because it's all learning. Okay, so that's a public data breach right there. So you can set these up with Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, MSN, iCloud is fine, AOL is fine, no Yahoo accounts, and no cable provider emails. Right? So I see, Michelle, we have a couple questions. Yes.
While we're on the topic of email, I just want to go through those first. Can you repeat the 5 words that you should be putting in the sent box, Ileana?
Yes. So in your at the top of your sent folder, you're going to write in bank, finance, tax, password, and medical. Those are all the keywords. Anything related to money, anything related to your medical, or taxes, all that. Those are the keywords.
Okay. And then we had another question. If I have old email addresses that are no longer in use, say they're old, personal, school, etc., do I need to be worried about them
Good
if I'm not
question.
checking them?
I think that you should. So we're going to send out a little guide later
Mhm.
after this that tells you how to close those down. So if you're
Mhm.
not sure, because somebody could be using your old email account and potentially looking at those things. So I think this is, you know, great time to do some house
Mhm.
cleaning. We just had Cyber Month, but we encourage
Yes,
house
we
cleaning
did.
all the time. Um, take Go through the effort and close those accounts.
And maybe just one more. Can we just go over the spam blockers you had mentioned previously? There was a couple questions on that. That's
Yes. So the
important.
spam blockers are great for your phone. Truecaller, Nomo Robo, Robo Killer, and Haya. They're all great. They have, like Nomo Robo, if you're also trying to block spam on a landline,
Yep.
Nomo Robo is great. Truecaller, you can get a free version versus and watch a few ads versus not. It all depends. Usually I'm not about free,
That
right?
was another question. I'm glad you answered it.
Usually
Premium versus not premium.
I'm not
Mhm.
about free, because free
Okay.
means you're paying with it
Yes.
with your information.
Yes.
So this is one where you know request a gift certificate for the holidays and use it to buy some nice cyber software.
Yes.
Okay. All right, great.
We have a couple for later and not in your presentation, so I'll take a
Okay.
pause.
Okay, great. So here's the thing is I'm not going to be able to hack into a lot of you guys tonight if you have two-factor authentication on your email accounts. I know you of course have it on your banking account. Yes, it's that annoying one-time passcode. You need to have this on every account you value. And that includes if your entire life is in your email account, why have you not put two-factor on it? You need to mentally get over it's a pain in the neck or whatever you tell yourself. There are companies. You cannot get cyber insurance today at a company if you do not have two-factor authentication on all your processes, because it is that effective. This is that your password's this little jiggly lock that's easily picked. Two-factor is the deadbolt. Doesn't mean it's impossible to get in, but it means it's going to be a lot harder. And you need to put that on every account that you have, that you value. If you're mentally going to tank because you don't have a social media account, put two-factor on there. On your airline accounts, on your mobile service provider, on your medical accounts. Your medical has to be, because they're just draining the stuff from your doctor's office. Otherwise, have to put it in. And your ChatGPT, you better be putting it on there as well. Okay, so two-factor, wherever offered, just embrace it, love it, change the mental attitude on two-factor. Right? You won't have to do it every time. You just have to do it when somebody is logging in from a machine that's not yours. That's when it's going to show up, right, for some of your accounts. Okay, the other area where a lot of us fall down is passwords. This is that jiggly lock that you have. If your top 10 most hackable passwords remain, 12345 password admin quit. Princess QWERTY 15789, let me in baseball. I love you football. And the next 10 are usually the idiotic. They're not idiotic, the teams, but usually idiotically the sports teams in the region. So if you're on maybe it's Seahawks, right? Or it's Cowboys, or it's wherever you live, that is often the most predominant password. So hackers are not sitting there trying to type these things out, right? Those days are long gone. Hacker buys a million email accounts. They have built an entire data dictionary with all the bad passwords and the easy ones at the top. Right? But they have every password combination. They pair the two together, head out for coffee, come back. The computer says, ding, 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 ding. These are the emails that had 12345 as a password. These are the emails that had Princess, Barbie, Seahawks, Ravens, whatever, as a password. And they're going to go, well, did we actually get company ABC? I'm trying to get somebody there. No, we didn't get that one yet. Okay, keep going. I'll keep working on this till you do. We are all up against automated tools. We are not up against human beings until they're close. Okay, then they're targeting something. But before that, there is a lot of automated tools in play. So we all have to get better because the computer systems are going through very quickly. So we all know passwords should be longer, not shorter. A song, a phrase, a book title, whatever can mentally get you to a longer password, the better. But you need, the more characters you have, the better. 8 is never sufficient. I don't care what a website says, right? 8, between 8 and 32. No, you need 12 to 15 at a minimum, 17 if you can get there. You need complex, not simple, uppercase, lowercase, numeral, special characters, not on a sticky note, no laminated Excel sheets, none of that kind of stuff, okay? So what does that mean? Means a lot of us are like, ugh, I'm in trouble. Okay, so at work, a lot of us have passwords because we're forced into it. But when we go home and kick up our feet and we're like, oh, I'm at home, I'm relaxing. Some of us have passwords that we've been using for, I don't want to even say how many years, right? We all know we're guilty. I adopted a dog a couple of years ago. Of course, she's part of my password. I love her, right? But if Roxy 2018 were truly my password, despite the capital R in the numerals, it's only 8 characters, that were truly my password, I'd be instantly hacked. My password were Roxy goes to school, where I've created a phrase with numerals in place of vowels, special characters, uppercase, lowercase. I've got the whole enchilada going on here, right? Complex. That password would last me about 100 years with today's computing power. Okay, some of you might pat yourselves on the back and be like, look at me go, I'm so great. I had a lady last week who I had in tears because I'm like, well, I'm so thrilled you have a great password. She's using it on 100 different sites. I'm like, well, one of those sites gets hacked. They're going to put your great password in the dictionary, go to the top 50 sites and see if you've used it somewhere else. You can't have the same password, right? So here comes our mental dilemma. What am I going to do? I can't manage it. Yes, you can. I'm going to give you some tips on how. So let's say you have a bad password like Roxy 2018, the immediate bad password, immediately hackable. You can go home tonight, take that bad password, double it, add a special character, and voila, you have a 17-character password. Mentally haven't broken anything here, emotionally still with the dog, and that password will last you 2 years. Not hard. And you can teach your technologically challenged spouse to do that and your children to do that. Very simple. You can also take your bad password, use it as a root, add prefixes and suffixes unique to the sites that you're on and visit. Roxy 2018 _ shop Amazon. Roxy 2018 _ fly Delta. You have to figure out a method to the madness so that you can succeed in this world of password mania, right? But a better solution is, yes, a password manager. So let me explain what a password manager is and what a password manager is not, okay? To start off, whenever I do ask who has a password manager and which one are you using, not Apple keychain that says, hey, want me to save your password in the browser? No, no, no. I also don't mean Google, where Google Chrome does the same thing. All these passwords in a browser stuff, we want to stay away from that. The secret will be revealed later why. But a true password manager is an app that goes on your phone, your desktop, your laptop, your iPad, whatever device you have. The top 3 in the marketplace are Dashlane, 1Password, and Keeper. Dashlane, 1Password, and Keeper, and we will send you this list later again. What happens is, let's say I put Dashlane on my phone. We're going to talk about this in different ways. I enter my username and password for Delta Airlines, and it says Ileana. That's a super weak password you have there, Roxy 2018. Want me to change that for you? Oh, yes, please. And it changes Roxy 2018 to 1ZGF, 32 characters long. I never have to remember that password going forward, because going forward, I'm going to go through the password manager, and it's going to auto log me in to Delta. Through the password manager, it's going to auto log me into Amazon, to Chase, to Wall Street Journal, to whatever I have signed up in here. It's also going to turn around and say, Ileana, guess what? Guess who got hacked again? Uber and American Airlines. Want us to change the password for you? You bet. Yes. So it's helping you truly manage passwords. Don't just put in your same passwords that you've had forever, the same one, and put it in here. The point is, help you dynamically change passwords, okay? And stay current with stuff. So it's also great for a family. You can have your 100 different accounts that you have passwords for in the system. Your spouse can also have their 75 accounts that are different. You don't see each other's accounts, but the 5 accounts you do share, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, Uber, Disney, they can be shared. And if one person changes the password, it auto syncs to the other device. You change the password, it auto syncs to theirs. Same thing with the kids. Kids can also have the password manager, right? And this avoids the entire neighborhood from having your Netflix password, because you can change it, and this way people won't be using your accounts, right? Or whatever account it might be. So this is one where also for small businesses and for family offices and people under 50 people, Dashlane, 1Password, and LastPass, or not LastPass, we're going to talk about that one in a minute. Dashlane, 1Password, and Keeper all have enterprise versions, right, that you can use that are also really great. Now, where a lot of people get hung up is they say, yeah, but wait, what if that password manager gets hacked? I'm so worried. And that's a good worry to have. It tells me you're thinking about this. With the password managers that we're talking about, Dashlane, 1Password, and Keeper, they have the highest level of encryption. And when you first set them up, you have to set up a very long and complex password. Something like Roxy Goes to School. The password manager also sets up a very long and complex password that you do not see. It is appended to yours and encrypted. And even when a hacker got into LastPass, which was a password manager, they did not get, here's what they got and here's what they didn't get. They did not get the master password that you have to set, and you can't forget that. They did not get any of the underlying passwords because they're encrypted. Both were encrypted, master passwords and this. But what happened at LastPass, shame on LastPass, is that they did not encrypt their customer file. Those were in the clear. And so the hackers got the names of all the customers and the sites that they visit. And so now they're more ripe for phishing, right? But this is where I truly believe the password manager is going to come up with way better passwords than you mentally ever could. And so I think they're a great tool. And if you're still like, well, I don't want to put my bank password in there, then don't. But put all the junk passwords, all the simple passwords that you have just rinsed and repeated in there, and try out a password manager for your airlines, for your car services, and for all those things that, yeah, those are not life critical, but it's really important, right, to also have a lot of change, right, and not repeating the dog's name. So I'm going to pause there. Michelle, did we get any questions on password managers?
Well, you answered a lot of them, which was really great. But we did have one question. What if I'm notified, and I think you touched briefly upon this, that if my password account has been subjected to a cyber attack? So I know we've kind of talked about accounts and passwords, but what would happen, Ileana, if somebody's subject to a cyber attack and you're notified? Like, what would we do?
So one of the things is you need to change that password right away, right? You would want to not leave it the same. So let's say your password was Roxy 2018. Why would you leave it that way? Because then you're just inviting them in the door.
Right.
You're going to change that password. You're going to put 2-factor authentication on that account if you can help it. If you've used that password somewhere else, you better be changing it all the somewhere else's that you've done that. Because again, this password goes right into a database in the automated tools, and they go, shh, where else has this person used this email and password? That's why You need tools like this to stay ahead in the game, right? And as we often say, it's not about, it's the game with the bear in the forest, right? Not about outrunning the bear. It's about outrunning the person next to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be the low-hanging fruit or the one that the bear grabs first.
Gotta stay a step ahead.
Stay a step ahead.
Yes.
Right? Not saying you're never going to be hacked, but you've got to stay constantly vigilant so that you're not first in line. But yes, and then we're going to talk about some other tools if you've been hacked as well.
Exactly. I think the other questions we can wait on for your next sections.
Okay.
But that was all we had in regard to password managers.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know that there's lots, and I love all the people thinking and, oh my gosh, and because this is how it works. And so we're going to lay out a couple more ways that you can be hacked and how you can protect yourself.
Perfect. What you're about to say is going to answer a bunch of these.
Okay, good. Another area that a lot of us may not realize that we are breached is our home networks and the office networks, but the home networks. If your router is older than the pandemic, let's put it that way, okay? But if your router is pre-2020, you need to get a new one. Okay, even if you think I internet and binged watch TV just fine, nope. Time to upgrade. Again, another holiday gift in your making. Black Friday sales are going to come up. The cyber attacks that are coming in now are so sophisticated. They are running over the older firewalls, and the older firewalls don't even know. There's nothing on your old router that's going, oh my good. It's just they're in. So you want new equipment, okay? Now, on the new equipment, there are two, on the routers, they have two Wi-Fi networks by default, a primary network and a guest network. They just come 2 for 1, 2 for free off the same device. I want everybody on this call to be on the primary network. That's where you do your remote work, your sensitive transactions, your taxes, your everything that you hold dear on there. If you trust your spouse enough, you can put them on there as well, right? However, your children should not be trusted under any circumstances, be they 7, 17, or 27, okay? They are all going to be put on the guest network, okay? Because they are downloading stuff for school, gaming, everything else, sharing with friends, da-da-da-da-da. You've no clue. They have no clue what they're downloading, okay? So when they download onto the guest network and you're on this network, these two networks do not talk to one another. They do not intersect. They stay separate. During the pandemic, I had plenty of parents freaking out who were like, I didn't listen to you. And my kid's gaming system got hacked and they came in and went right into my system. So here's what happens. If an attack comes onto the guest network, it's going to stay limited to all the devices that are on the guest network. It won't go onto the primary network. But if you and your kids are all on this one and the kids are doing stuff, it's going to potentially impact on this. And this is how healthcare companies and hospitals get hacked all the time. They're coming in through IV machines and stuff that is connected all on the same network. So guest network, home network. Now, don't think just because they're kids, that's why they're on the guest network. When your neighbor comes over and your relatives come over for Thanksgiving and they go, oh, what's the Wi-Fi password? Unless they're paying your bills, you do not put them on the same network with you. You put them all on with the kids. Because if their devices have viruses on them, those viruses can go up your network and infect other devices on there. Okay, so when the relatives come over, they're going on the guest network. It's the same level of, whatever. So don't worry about that. Now, the smart devices that we all love, Ring, Sonos, Peloton, Roomba, Apple TV, whatever you have, Wi-Fi enabled dishwasher. Easiest things to hack from across the globe. Do not put these things on the same network where you're doing your finances. You put them all on the network, on the guest network with your kids, your neighbors, your in-laws, everybody else. Lesser security. If you have a house full of those things, you better get a whole nother network for that. Okay, so those are things where super careful. You want to keep these things separate. Same thing in an office. You have one for office stuff and one for guests, right? Okay, next I will go, and we're going to pause after this as well. Public Wi-Fi. Well, Michelle, any questions on the home router stuff?
Yes. Basically about asking how they can create the two networks, but that'll be in the kit as a follow-up, as you just mentioned. And then
so here's one
basically the setup of it. We're getting a couple of
I
those.
will say, if you have, let's say you have a FiOS or something from cable, call them up, because they're never calling you. And you're going to be like, hi, how old is my equipment, by the way? Because I think I've been having some problems lately, right? And they're going to say, as a matter of fact, it's 5 years old. Great. Let's schedule a time when you can come in and bring in new equipment. And when the tech comes in, and even customer service is very good. Even if you have new equipment, you could say, I'm aware I should be able to have 2 networks by default. And they're going to say, yeah, you are. Okay, we can help you set that up. There should be no reason why you don't have 2. Okay, so very easy. Customer service walks you through it. And please do not put your family name on the network. I don't want to see, Monica's home network, right? The Jalife home network. We don't want that. No.
Nope.
You're going to keep it neutral, or you're going to keep it that FiOS 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, whatever it is, right? But just keep it more generic. Because again, that can be used to target you.
And we had another question. I think that they're talking about smart TVs or smart devices, and that should also go on a separate network. Like I have Verizon, I have 3 networks. I have primary, guest, and I have 1 for smart devices. So you can do that too. I know. So that was another question that we had.
Yes, exactly. All those smart devices is what I'm talking about. Anything that's Wi-Fi enabled, nowhere near the same computer that does your financing, right? Because that's how they get in. If we had more time, it even happened to me. I had this. I had my home network assessed. Of course, I work in cyber. I had every control imaginable. And even I had it. I brought in a company and they said, Ileana, you have 3 bots in your home system. I detected something was off. And there were 2 bots that were looking specifically for smart devices, which I do not have in my network. And the flurry of activity from those bots was reflecting back on my computer, so I could see that. And it was wanting to send a signal back to a mothership to say, Ileana has a such and such smart device in her house. That's what it was looking for. I didn't have that because I know better. And it sure enough, so it was not successful. Right. And the 3rd bot that was in my home system was looking for passwords in a browser. So there are some very powerful bots that are exploring home networks and seeing if you do that. So that's why, again, you want the passwords out of your browser. Okay. I'm going to plow through a little bit more, and then we're going to get into, we'll have some more time for questions. So public Wi-Fi, you need to stay away. I know a lot of travel time for Thanksgiving is coming up. Do not go on any kind of Wi-Fi at the airport, at the wherever in the hotel, right? Because it's not, it is public. Even if you think, well, it's not the cafe, it's still a Wi-Fi with 200 other people on it and you. And there are hackers who know that people are, very little time. They're going to input stuff and they're going to try to grab your information. So 1, you're much safer on your own phone, which is an encrypted channel with Verizon, T-Mobile, or AT&T. You can use your phone as a personal hotspot with a device. You can also use a little mobile Wi-Fi unit. You can buy this at Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Will handle 5 to 10 devices. You plunk this down on the hotel desk, and there you go. You have your own little encrypted Wi-Fi on the go. Okay, way better than the airport Wi-Fi or the hotel Wi-Fi. Or if you have to use the airport Wi-Fi, you want to use a VPN, a virtual private network. You're going to create this. Now, a lot of us are familiar with VPNs at work, which can be hardware as well, or you can have it on your phone. The top 4 in the marketplace, we will send this out. Nord VPN, not Norton. TorGuard VPN, Viper VPN, Surfshark VPN are 4 very good ones. And what I would do is immediately when I go onto the public Wi-Fi, I do not pass go, I don't collect $200, I don't do anything until I open up the VPN. And it would say, Ileana, where do you want to log in from today? Between Albania and Zimbabwe, pick a country. And I could say, I'm going to stay here in the United States, or I'm going to log in through Portugal. Always wanted to go. When I log into the bank might say, it's going to change my IP address temporarily for the session so that it appears as if I'm coming from Portugal. When I log into the bank, it says, you don't typically log in from Portugal, Ileana. Did you re-authenticate yourself? Oh, it is you. Okay, fine. And I can go on. And when I end the session, Portugal's over. So this is one where it helps. What it does is it encrypts the public Wi-Fi that you're going through. It creates an encrypted tunnel so that whatever you're sending over that Wi-Fi cannot be seen. It is a very powerful privacy and security tool. So become friends with a VPN. You also shouldn't be using ChatGPT without a VPN. You don't want it knowing your IP address. So again, VPN is very powerful for many different reasons. Right? So we're making friends with lots of different tools. All right, now let's get out your phones. I know we're kind of nearing up on the hour. We're going to use your phones. If you have an iPhone, I want you to, if you have not upgraded to iOS 17, if you're not sure, you should do that tonight, okay? That's number 1. I'm noting way too many people who have not upgraded, and there are loads of bugs out there right now, vulnerabilities that the hackers are utilizing. So get yourself upgraded on iOS 17 tonight. But in the meantime, I want you to go to settings. In settings, I'd have you raise your hands if you see your name at the top of the phone. Typically, we see a lot of people raising their hands. So I'm going to assume you see your name at the top of the phone. So click down on your name. On the next screen, you'll see your name across in big letters. Then you're also going to see either name, phone numbers, email as the first line if you're still on iOS 16, or it'll say personal information if you're on iOS 17, where you should be. Okay, click down on either one of those. Next screen will have your name and your birthday. Hopefully you didn't put in your real birthday. You'll change that later if you did. Okay, keep clicking down on your name. It's going to take a little bit until it gets to a screen where it has first name, middle name, last name. All right, tell you a brief story. I was on a train between Boston and New York. Of course, I'm not on the Amtrak Wi-Fi. I wouldn't be caught dead. I need to use my phone as a personal hotspot because I've got loads of work to do ahead of me. But I'm also procrastinating a little bit. I don't want to, it's going to be a long trip of work. So in the list of personal hotspots that I see the name of my phone, but I see other people's names as well. And I Google one of them. Happened to be a person named Carla DeMarco. Sure enough, Google results come up. And I realize that this person is sitting catty corner to me in the train. She's been blathering on for hours, this woman, about the big deal they're doing, company they're buying, problems they're going to have, what they're going to sell off. And she's CFO of a company that's come up. She also went to Harvard and has 2 children. So I know everything in 15 seconds. So I think to myself, what am I going to do? This is not good for her. And it's not good. It's inside information. So I think, let me help her out. Let me help the sister out. So I lean over to her and I say, Carla DeMarco? And she goes, yes, you look so familiar. Oh my God, I think. Dumb bunny. No, you do not know me. I work in cyber, but I know you. You're CFO of this, you're buying this, selling this, you went to Harvard, you have 2 kids. She almost passed out on the spot when I mentioned it all. I said, if your name had not been emanating out of your phone, I would not have figured that out. So your phone happens to have received your name. We're changing your device name, not your name. Okay? So you can be whatever you want on this phone. It's first name, middle name, last name. Your favorite snack, your favorite drink, your favorite cartoon figure, your favorite breakfast cereal. You can be guac and chips, dark and stormy. Your favorite ice cream flavor, coffee ice cream. You could be Bugs Bunny. Whatever you want. When I come into an airport over Thanksgiving and I see your name, you bet I'm going to be doing that same exercise. I love creativity. So let's see some creative names. When you email somebody, you're still going to be official you, but your personal hotspot and your airdrop name will be different. Okay, so that's where I want you to these are all the ways that hackers are going to sit in the first class lounges. They're going to sit in the better cocktail bars, and that's the exercise they do, right? Not hard. You can entertain yourself in this holiday and look at what can you see. Okay, the book that you're going to be getting, I have lots more tips on privacy tips where I want you to carefully look at how to turn off apps and look at which apps have access to your names, or to your photos, your calendar. You would be shocked when you do this exercise tonight. Trust me. But this is because our data is a digital commodity. Our information is bought and sold all day long by your friends coming to you from Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, or Meta, whatever we want to call them. All of them. You have befriended them and you have a certain level of trust, but you don't realize in many cases that you've signed terms and conditions in which your data, you are identifiable as an IP address. So reduce it. Reduce your online profile. Antivirus, you're all going to be putting on your phones and on your iPads and tablets and stuff like that, and mobile antivirus. Bitdefender has one, McAfee has one. The one I'm in love with at the moment is Sophos Intercept, SOPHOS Intercept. It even has, because we know QR codes are also a problem, Sophos Intercept even has a safe QR code reader, because QR codes can also have viruses in them, right? So be very careful. So make sure you have antivirus on your computer, of course, even your MacBooks, but also particularly on all phones. Even you Android users are in trouble. Everybody's in trouble, okay? There's nobody better than anybody or safer than anybody. We're all vulnerable. Last but not least, I'll just go through social media. Please refrain from telling people where you're going, particularly with the holidays coming up. This is one where we tend to think, again, that work and home are separate. You know, Sonia here, she can't help herself. Even on LinkedIn, she tells people about conferences she's going to, headed to London for 4 days, blah, 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 blah. Nobody really cares. You tell people how great it was when you come home. Went to a fantastic conference. Had a great time at. Look at me. Aren't these pictures great? If you have to do that for work, do it later. On vacation, do not tell people when you're going. I don't care how great the trip is. Zip it. Because we had clients recently who went on vacation. They came home to an emptied out house. And the second question the police asked was, did you post about the vacation while you were away? Of course we did. Got 10 days of free time, and can't wait to see what the 10 days will show. How much time did the hackers have? Or not the hackers, the criminals, physical or cyber? Yeah. They're also going to your children's pages, because even if you zip it, your kids can't. You have to let your kids know to not tell people where you're going. We have way too many cases of offices, family offices, and everything else that have been compromised because the kids, they were able to piece it together through everything the kids said. And we all have relatives that are going to be sitting around your Thanksgiving room table next week that are putting way too much stuff on Ancestry.com. So have that discussion, right? And this is one where we've had loads of, offices are posting. So this is one, when it comes to your security questions for your wealth, why are you still using your real mother's maiden name? Right? If I can figure it out on Ancestry, thanks to your cousin. My mother's online maiden name is eggplant. Eggplant Parmesan is mom's favorite dish. Make it up. The digital password managers that you're all going to be putting on your phone have a digital vault where you can say, my mother's online maiden name is, my favorite fruit is, my favorite vacation destination is, I put in at the track, because my sister's Instagram reveals the real place I love to go, right? And last but not least, for you and your clients or anybody that you're with, this should be another thing, is a credit freeze. If you have not frozen your credit, this goes beyond credit monitoring. Freezing your credit will prevent new accounts from being opened up in your name. So it's really, really important to do that. Okay, so I know I have fire hosed you with loads of information. I hope some things, maybe you knew a lot. That's great. And maybe it just helped reinforce some things that you knew. But maybe you're also thinking, this is a lot. This is way more. I didn't realize how exposed I am. We see things on both ends of the spectrum. Do not dismay. Do one thing a weekend, right? Don't think like, well, it's all over and I don't do that. You're getting a guide, you're getting a booklet where you can just pick one topic a weekend, be like, this weekend I'm doing the password manager. This weekend I'm setting up more emails. This weekend I'm whatever, right? But just make a process. So hopefully, this was useful to you, and I'm happy to take more questions. Again, you'll all be getting, more books, but just try to be more anonymous online, protect your online and financial accounts and your devices, and you should be, again, not the bear's first point of attack.
Thank you so much, Ileana. That was fantastic. I have to say my head is spinning of all the work I'm going to have to do. But that was great. Thank you, everyone who joined us. And if we didn't get to answer the questions, we will follow up with all the answers to the questions that we didn't get to in the interest of time. And we will also share, this was recorded, so we'll send, I think someone was asking if we were going to do another session. We will be sending out to all the attendees the replay of this, along with the resources that Ileana mentioned. So thank you. And thank you, Michelle, for giving us all the questions. We really appreciate your time. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Righty. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.